Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a post-fight show for UFC 191. Johnson vs. Dodson for the UFC Flyweight Championship of the World, the 125-pound title in the UFC. And, yeah, this was a great pay-per-view overall. I was really happy with pretty much all the fights. The main event was Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, the UFC Flyweight Champion, defending against number one contender, John the Magician Dodson. Yeah, this fight was phenomenal. John Dodson put up a fight. He went for it. I got some knockdowns. He got some takedowns. Not a whole lot happened with those, but still, the fact that he was able to get them and at least try, that's the main thing. I always ask, any fighter, just look. As long as you try, if you lose, then and you tried, then at least you tried. Demetrius Johnson in the later rounds found his reach, was able to land more, and start stunning John Dodson. And yeah, I said on my pre-fight show, Demetrius Johnson I thought would get a finish here in the 4th or 5th round. It didn't happen. I know Demetrius is probably a little upset over that, but he tried, and he did dominate, and he did win this fight fair and square. Yeah, Demetrius Johnson won this 49-46 on 2 of the judges and 50-45 on the 3rd judge. Yeah, so Demetrius Johnson has his 7th title defense as the UFC Flyweight Champion now, and he's definitely, pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world right now. Yeah, then in the co-main event, in the heavyweight division, we had Andre the Pitbull Arlovski versus Frank Mir. Yeah, Frank Mir got some takedowns here, and that scared me, but I knew Andre Arlovski is good enough with his Sambo wrestling background to pop right back up, and that's exactly what happened. And also, when Andre was being pinned up against a cage, he was able to circle out, and then he was able to push Frank Mir up against the cage, and then he was also able to break off when it got too much of a clinch, and find his reach and start landing. And yeah, I checked the stats on this. Andre Arlovski landed more significant strikes than Frank Mir on all 3 rounds. So Andre Arlovski legitimately won this fight, because I know there's people I was watching this fight with that thought Frank Mir should have won this fight, but the stats showed that Andre Arlovski, got the right decision, the right side of the right decision. So this is Andre Arlovski's 4th win, I believe, in the UFC now, since coming back. And he's definitely in that top 5, smack dab in the middle there, and he's in the mix of the title talk. That will be interesting to see how that plays out down the line. I know the heavyweight title fight, the next one, won't be for a long time. So, Andre Arlovski's sitting comfortably right now in the rankings for sure, though. And, Andre Arlovski won 29-28 and on 2 of the scorecards, and 30-27 on the 3rd one. Yeah, it was a good fight for Andre Arlovski. Obviously, he realized he needs to fix up his cardio, which I think he will, and it was one of those days where of course Andre wishes could have gone a little smoother with the victory, but a win's a win, as they say. And that was probably one of my favorite fights on the whole pay-per-view. Yeah, then also on the main card in the light heavyweight division, we had Anthony Rumble Johnson versus Jimmy Manuwa. This was a great fight. Anthony Johnson dominated in the 1st round, but Jimmy Manuwa put up a fight. Then in the 2nd round, Anthony Johnson got a KO victory, landing a clean shot and then dropping Jimmy Manuwa and then pounding him out. It was officially KO punches round 2, 28 seconds. Yeah, it was a good finish for Anthony Johnson, and he's definitely still in the title picture in the light heavyweight division. I'd say 1 or 2 more fights, and he's definitely getting another title shot. assuming he wins those. Yeah, then also in the light heavyweight division, also on the main card, we had Corey Anderson versus Jan Blachowicz, and this fight was just a shocker because I was not expecting Corey Anderson to just out-grapple and do ground and pound on Jan Blachowicz through most of the fight, and he did that. And in the stand-up, I mean, Corey Anderson worked his stand-up well to set up for the takedowns and then get the ground and pound, and then he did it, you know, just impressively. I was really impressed. This was a good, clean win for Corey Anderson, the Ultimate Fighter Season 19 winner in the light heavyweight division. And Jan Blachowicz is no slouch. He is an experienced veteran. He's had a lot of fights. He's at this point still fairly fresh in the UFC, but you know, this wasn't his UFC debut. And yeah, Corey Anderson won 30-25 on 2 of the judges' scorecards, and then 29-26 on the third judge. And yeah, I would have gave Corey Anderson probably a 30-26 across the board. I mean, yeah, I think 30-25 is a little harsh. It wasn't that dominant, but it was still pretty dominant. And then I don't know where that 29-26 came from. I don't know where they, you know, what that judge saw. But yeah, Corey Anderson definitely still alive and well in the light heavyweight division and working his way up the ladder. Then to kick off the main card of the pay-per-view in the women's strawweight division, we had Paige Van Zandt versus Alex Chambers. And yeah, you know, Paige Van Zandt just decimated Alex Chambers. She outlanded striking. Her significant strikes were very lopsided in this fight. Paige Van Zandt, I believe, more than doubled or tripled even Alex Chambers on significant strikes in those first couple rounds alone. And then the third round, a minute and 1 second into the third and final round, she, in the mix of getting the ground and pound, she saw an opening and went for the armbar submission and got it pretty darn quick, and it was a good win for Paige Van Zandt. And Alex Chambers, you know, she's no slouch. I mean, she's a veteran of the sport. She was, you know, highly ranked opposition in that division, and yeah, it's just a good win for Paige Van Zandt, who was coming into this fight ranked number 7, according to the UFC rankings, I believe it was. And wow, Paige Van Zandt, I say a couple more wins, she gets a title fight. You know, give her say, you know, a top 5, you know, the 1 through 6 in her next fight, and then after that a 1 through 3 in her another fight, and then after that definitely, assuming she wins those, then give her the title fight on whoever the champ is at that point in time. This women's strawweight division is looking pretty interesting and fun right now. So yeah, that wraps up the post-fight show. Stay tuned for my next episode, which I plan on making another fun-filled episode, and I'll probably throw in some MMA news tidbits in there because there's a long gap between this UFC fight card and then the next one. So to stay busy, stay active, I'll probably do another episode in the coming days where it's just fun facts about me or some topic, and then throw in some MMA tidbit news headlines in there to make it fun and interesting, but also give you some new news. So that wraps up this post-fight show for UFC 191, and until then, see ya.